Welcome to African Rail. I'm here at the Transnet Group stand and I'm with Colette. Yesterday we were talking about, or you were rather, I was just listening, some of the changes coming through from a procurement front. What has instigated that? I know things have been challenging, but what has instigated that?
It is fair to then say the recovery plan is real, right? And there is no recovery plan without recovering everything. So what happened is, I think, from where the fleet is and looking at the number of locomotives standing and the number of issues that we've had with suppliers, we did a deep dive and we realized that there's an exhaustion in the market because every day the same supplier gets an RFQ. We then said, okay, let's relook at things. So we then did a serious deep dive of our procurement patterns and we've cleaned that up. So we're saying then what best way then we could do this? And we're saying maybe it would help to partner, because the purpose right now really is to partner with the industry so that we can get back our locomotive to service. So we then consolidated, cleaned up, and now we're saying the strategy is really to target those that can help us. We're not only focusing on the locomotives and the wagons, we're also just focusing on the entire infrastructure from a Transnet Engineering perspective, because we've got machines and whatnot. So there's a lot that we are doing. But the purpose of all of this is to bring back TE or Transnet where it was.
One of the other things I found quite interesting when you were talking yesterday, something after my own heart, because really if there is a proper planning and procurement foresight, your industry can actually support you.
Demand management became the first thing that we looked at. Then we've said with business, obviously they will say there's PRs or there's requisitions in the system. But what good are they if I don't know when you need the things? Because most of them were not even released. So we've done a cleanup of the system and we've said with business to do proper planning with them. And that's really at the core of the partnership. But we've also asking our partners to help us with some of the things that we may not be able to predict that we may need, that would require long lead times for them to keep for us. So we're looking at it from that perspective as well.
So how does a supplier actually then manage that? Because, you know, the spares and components, these are not cheap items. And I know you don't want it on your balance sheet, but like the supplier certainly doesn't want that on his balance sheet or his or her balance sheet either. So how do you guarantee that, that as and when that offtake, that's because really it comes down to keeping the liquidity of your supplier also happening?
Fortunately, those are conversations we're already having.
Okay.
Right? So they are saying they are prepared to keep, but not for the 10 years, obviously. And hence I said there's an annual review of what we have taken and what we have not taken and what needs to happen. So over and above just the annual review, we're strengthening our contract management regime internally. And that's what our board is actually saying to us. You've got to do things differently. So with the contract management regime, it means that every 3 months we will have sessions with our partners, because you don't want to be shocked at the end of the year that an engine has not moved. So these quarterly ones, we're tracking what they're keeping in stock and what we have taken and what we have ordered and how far they are, what we have paid and the deliveries, right? Because I know that it's not going to be smooth sailing, and I have experience with that. We had a 5-year, there were issues in terms of us manipulating lead times. You know, the lead time is 3 months and I wanted it in a month. So we started with also lessons learned with some of the partners to say, what did we do wrong there? And how do we improve? Because it's good to have a foresight, but hindsight is the best teacher.
2020 vision. So touching on kind of that demand side, kind of planning and the strategy around that, for you in the last couple of months, what has been like a big milestone?
The strategy for priority 1 has gone through all the approvals, left with just one to tick.
Okay.
Just the board, but internally that is done. And I think the second part is that you've got priority 1 and priority 2. So I think my acquisition committees are going to be very busy.
Okay.
Because while one is now waiting for the board. There's background work that we're doing so that when I get the go ahead, the process is smooth. We have very tight timelines. I think we've promised Bessie that by Q2, we would have the contracts in place. So it's all hands on deck. And it really doesn't matter whether you're a CPO or an executive manager. I want everyone in the room and I want everyone understanding the task at hand. From a group perspective, they must come and help us. You know, it's good to think that you know it all, but sometimes just get help. Get all the necessary hands that you need, legal and whatnot, to do some of the things that you don't want as delays.
Or headaches afterwards. Yeah. Okay, so those are great milestones. Collaboration and working with the partners. How does industry work with you?
Yesterday, when I talked about that, a few of the partners came and said, our database and this and that doesn't really work, etc., etc. And I thought, okay, number one, it does work, but I think the understanding of how our system works is a challenge. However, from a TE perspective, I think our supplier development is available to contact suppliers to understand what they can do. But I also need the industry to really interact with our approved lists that we put out there. Because remember, there's also this thing about approved list and transformation. Approved list is product based. If you can give me the product and transformation, I'm happy. But at the moment, I need to get the fleet out there and I need the product. And we have our engineering team, research and development. I met some of the people yesterday that were saying, this is what I do, this is what I can do for you. I said, fine, the right people, you know. I think we are not into the tender thing only right now. If you have a product that could help us, bring it.
Okay.
We have the tools to test it and to work with you, bring it. I need the support. I can't do it alone.
And there you have it. Transnet Engineering is looking to collaborate. They need the support, and this is who you speak to.